Hello, I'm River and welcome to my Monster Hunter World board game paint series. Today, I'll be working on the Tobi Kadachi armor with the Tobi Kadachi bow. After cleaning up the mold lines on these models, I primed them up with a matte black. I then brush matte black on the areas of plastic that weren't covered. I start off with ethereal blue. I go ahead and I paint all the parts on the armor where the scales would be. So that includes the chest, the sides of the waistcoat, front and back, the main body of the quiver, the trim around the knees and the forearms, as well as the main part of the bow. Mithril silver. We'll come back and we'll just real quick hit all the metallic details. On this armor set, the slinger is a silver. Base coat the tip of the quiver as well as the guild seal. Cage for the scout flies. The arm guards. The knee armor. And the arrow itself. As well as the mechanism that supplies the arrow tip with the coating. At least I think that's what that is. I'm not a bow expert by any means. I also paint the little guide there, as well as the armored straps holding the slinger to the arm. Fair skin. I do my best to kind of paint the ears and the face of the hunter. There's another case of the face not having much detail at all, and it's in a difficult spot to reach, so I can't quite do a good job here, but I color it so that you know there's a face in there. Uniform gray. I use this to base coat all of the armor's trim. There's fur that goes around basically all of the scaled areas, as well as a little bit of a little tail hanging off the back of the armor. We're going to color this trim something else later, but for now we use this as a base coat so that it's not entirely black underneath of what we're working with. The fur collar and shoulders, as well as the fur around the guild symbol on the quiver. Bugbear brown. Go ahead and I paint all of the leather straps on the armor. As well as the boots. And gloves. I give this large triangular piece a base coat of this brown. We're going to come back and make it more metallic later. Same with this piece. It'll just make the application easier later. Skeleton bone. Going to do the arms of the bow. There's some straps here that I come back and paint brown. Under dark indigo, I paint the upper bit of the quiver, as well as doing a slight amount on the edges of all of the scaled bits. There's a bit of a gradient or shadow that is on all of the armored pieces. And we're just going to replicate that with a watered down Underdark Indigo. We're going to come back later with a wash and smooth it out. You want to be generous with these weird little needles strapped to the hip of the hunter, because they are a darker blue. I then give the arrow's guide the same color. Rough iron, or a brown mixed with a metallic color. We go ahead and we paint the part of the bow's body that we had initially painted brown. Again, mixing any brown with a silvery metallic color will result in a similar color. Necromancer Cloak. I'll go ahead and I fix up the hair so that none of the skin tone or the armor color gets anywhere that's not supposed to be. Blue tone. I go ahead and I use this wash, slightly watered down, to put shadow and blending on all of the blue pieces of the armor and the bow. You want to make sure it doesn't pull anywhere too much, but make sure that it's thoroughly spread out enough so that it gets in between the scales. Anywhere there's blue, you want to be putting this on. Dark tone. We're going to do the rest of the model like this. The bone, the leather, the gray, the metal. As well as the brown straps, boots, and what little of the hunter's face that we can see. Coming back with that ethereal blue, we're just going to very lightly highlight bits of the armor towards the edge, just the outermost scales, and the upward facing ones as well. For the bow itself, I put this lighter color on the top and bottom edges. Do the same deal with the tips of the arm guards. That same light skin tone. And I use this to do all of the fur. I put more emphasis towards the top and let the bottom stay more gray. For a lot of this, I use the edge of my brush so that I'm just getting the top bits, allowing the lower parts to be more shadowed. Mix ethereal blue with gelatinous blue, and I make a very light blue, which I use to highlight a few choice scales on the armor. In the official art, there's a slight pattern of 3 or 4 scales right in the middle, and they break up the lighter and the darker blues that we had painted earlier. I also use this to just sort of give a little detail and edge highlight to the arrow's guide. Fair skin and bugbear brown. I use this to highlight all of the leather. I try to just get the upward facing bits of the straps. I go overboard here and there, but for the most part I think it looks good. I would have benefited from using a smaller detail brush, but lessons learned. Coming back with the same bone color we used, we're just going to edge highlight the angular bits of the bow's arms. the metal, highlight the top facing metal on the arrow, the arrowhead, the mechanism on the bow, as well as the various armor plates. Again, focusing only on the top light facing pieces. I also give an edge highlight to the brown sort of body of the bow. I take a tiny bit of grung green and just color the scout fly cage. Not going to give it any more extra detail just for the sake of simplicity. Come back with the uniform gray and I just very lightly highlight the ends of the arrows sticking out the quiver, as well as giving the hair a little more character with some gray stripes through it. Again, a smaller brush may have been a little more useful here, but it works out and I call that done. I'm enjoying the armor sets more than I thought I would. I know that they're small and getting a lot of detail on them is difficult, but I think I'm doing okay, and I hope all of your models are turning out alright too. If you liked the video, leave a comment. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.